Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, and I'm joined today by special guest Kirsten W. And eventually, hopefully, Gene Decode will jump in and join us. We're going to go ahead and just kick it off. Kirsten, thanks a lot for joining me again. How are you doing?
Good neighbor, you will be my neighbor soon, so let's
Yeah,
it's all good. And I can call Gene if there's a problem, but I he confirmed this morning, so
yeah,
should
yeah.
be
You
here.
confirmed with us too. He'll pop in and it's probably any minute now. So you were talking. We were just talking about weather wars that are going on. So I
Mm.
had predicted there was going to be fires in the west and flooding in the east, and we're seeing right now that uh, I just packed everything up and left Lake Tahoe, and it's basically been evacuated. Yeah, good timing, right?
Smart.
And now we're seeing Ida and all these other storms that are coming up and flooding. Lots of flooding happening on the east coast. What are you seeing with Ida?
Ida was a manufactured storm, as we know.
Mhm.
Basically, what happened was usually the storms now, because they've done so much weather warfare, get destroyed by the Sahara dust. The Sahara dust wraps around them, right? So there
Yep.
was a storm, Nora, that was going towards the California region. They pulled that one to the middle. There was an instrument, let's put it that way, or can we say Raytheon? Can we say Lockheed Martin? Most probably from one of those companies that are both connected anyway. Lockheed Martin's owned by Raytheon, I think. Anyway, so they were pulling the two storms towards the middle. So basically, the Ida wanted to go to the right. The other one wanted to go to the left, but they pulled them towards the middle, and that's what happened.
Mm.
So and then what happened, because the Sahara dust was wrapping around Nora like it does usually, what they did was they blew a hole in the Sahara dust so they could
Wow.
make it stronger. Now they've got a new thing that they do is
Mm.
basically, to get rid of the Sahara dust so the storm can fully form. And that's what they did, and they intensified it. And I do believe there's going to be more as we're trying to exit them, as we're getting to the blackout. They're going to do as much as they can. They're
Oh
going to
yeah.
pull out all the stops.
So we know that they do the chemtrail and they've done a lot of chemtrailing on the west coast, harp weapons basically, I believe, to keep the rains out. So as they're doing the aluminum oxide that comes in and like coats the trees, once the fires come in, once they hit them with a directed energy weapon, it just blows those trees up. Now they're creating the forest fires throughout California and some of the other areas. So what I've been noticing is they cut those forests down really quick and get them to the sawmills and then put them on ships to China. Now these are all forests that, spotted owl, we can't cut there, and they've had this going on for decades.
You
So
know
they've
who
been
that
prepping,
was?
they've been
You know who
prepping
made the
these
money
forests
from
to
that?
burn them, because when they burn them, the wood is perfectly seasoned. You just cut it and then it's lumber right away. They don't have to like season it.
You know who made the money from that? That would be exposed by Gene. That would be Red Emerson. Remember the name, look up the face. That would be Red Emerson that made the money on that from all
Interesting.
that lumber you're talking about.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Good, you're
Red
on it.
Emerson. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so I had
So,
a lot of different people were kind of piecing that together. Now I was just in Mount Shasta for an
mm,
event, and when you go up to Mount Shasta, the dam, Mount Shasta Dam with the Lake Shasta behind it, is just a trickle. Now I was like, just 3 years ago, that was completely full. It was full to the point where Trump had offered to put an addition to the dam, but of course Newsom said no, I don't want you to, because he didn't want to give credit to Trump. Plus, we know that they were just going to like dump all that water out, so it looks like there's a drought. Because I've been to streams, waterfalls, and reservoirs all over the place. There's like Glen Burnie Falls that's out by Mount Shasta. It's like flowing like crazy. I went to lots of different falls and streams. They're flowing. So there is no drought back there, but they're posing a drought in the front so they could get away with burning these forests and then shipping the lumber to China.
Gene. Hello, Gene.
Oh,
Where are you? We're waiting for you. Yes, you do. I'm going to send it to you again. I'm going to send him the link right now again. I'm going to send it to you right now. Okay. All right. He's very technically impaired, my Gene. Very technically impaired.
Yeah,
Worse,
yeah,
worse
yeah.
than me.
He's you got to work with him. He's good.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
doesn't
So
want to talk, but little problems there. But once
he'll
he's
be
in, he's
here. He'll be here. Yeah.
good. Thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Basically, I had to call him because he's like, okay. I knew that he's reliable. So, all right. So yes, that's what's going on. I'm so glad that you guys are coming over to Florida so we can do some stuff together. And
Yeah,
as you mentioned before, we can Inglewood is maybe 15 minutes south, and someone big lives there. And it seems that the influencers in this area seem to have comments as we had meetings and saying that the arrival and the end of this administration will be very, very soon.
yeah.
And something will be happening between the dates of the 8th and the 13th of August. There's
Oh,
Gene.
yeah.
There's Gene.
So some of the stuff I'm getting too is definitely everything's pretty much done by December. So I mean, we get all these different conflicting things, and who knows exactly what actually is going to transpire.
Right.
But we're all seeing definitely these guys are ass close to their last legs. So hopefully it's going to happen.
There's Gene. And
Hey, Jane.
of course, the basically the two twin people that did the explosion, shall we say, and things were from the clowns, as we know. And I will repeat what President Putin says. 95% of the terror in all the world is the clowns in America, C
Yeah.
underscore A, and 7 out of 10 plane crashes are targeted kills. Okay, there you go. Gene's here. There we go.
Hey, sorry about that. I'm technically pathetic.
I Tracy sent it to you. I know she did.
Yeah, like if you use the letters, when it comes to technology, I'm TP. I'm technically pathetic.
Gene, it's good to have you on again. It's been a while, so I obviously we both have a lot of questions. One of the things we were just talking about are the fires on the West Coast. They're basically doing it to get the lumber and send it to China, and that's kind of what we're getting from that.
Yeah, it actually makes it extra valuable for them because it's less expensive.
Right.
They
right.
don't have to do so much ground clear and clear all the twigs and all that stuff off. A lot of it's already taken care of. It's already dry kilned.
Yeah.
They have to, before they market wood, when they rip it down into planks and 2x4s and all that, they first have to dry kiln it so that it doesn't gum up the saws with this and all of that. It's really expensive to get all that, the gum from the trees, the sap. And then now that's already taken care of. So it makes it a really quick harvest to market. It's easy in, it's easy out, it's quick to process. It's a big coup for them.
Yeah. So it's obviously the weather's been blocked. Now, someone was telling me that you felt like all the HARP was basically taken down and they weren't able to use that.
Yeah.
Is there?
The HARP is down, and the satellite's under the Alliance. But what they still can do is they're doing things like silver, powdered silver dusting, or in like they did with the flooding in Europe a ways back. That's powdered dry ice, or carbon dioxide at frozen state, where they dust clouds and cause temperature gradient changes that create lows where they need them to create weather fronts. They are still able to use the bunker busters, the big planes that do the crop, like you used to have crop dusters, huge ones. This is even bigger, where they spray from the big bunker busters. There's a couple website guys that do that and follow that stuff. You can see them, they follow it and they show it, and then these storms break out. You can see it before. And then you have, and like they did in the steppes of Central Asia, they did that caused a huge storm, and it caused it to blow across the Sahara and big winds. that brought dust out into the Atlantic Ocean that created Hurricane Ida. And they know the timing and the jet streams and the the ocean currents and all that. So they can pretty much figure the timing. So if you look at the date of Ida, you look at the date of Katrina, you look at these dates, this lines up with a satanic alignment. So you have these constant same date, these hurricanes hitting every year on the, not like within that week, exactly the same date. They can time landfall, and they're, they've had a lot of practice, so they know how to do it now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
How about the DUMs on the West Coast? Are there any DUMs left on the West Coast that maybe?
Yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing. It does actually help the Alliance, the fires, because when the DUMs are taking them out, which is underneath that,
right?
If somebody, something, we'll put it that more applicable, escapes, especially if it's got weaponized, it's infected with weaponized Kuru or Ouroboros, then they don't have to wait. Worry about the contamination of that individual, because they would be, taken out by the fire too. And so then that won't spread, because it's, body like that op they did with the Blackhawks in downtown LA a few years back. They had to go in and take that out of the Guatemalan Cultural Center. That building was scheduled for demolition, and that body was dead, but it died from Ouroboros. So had that building been demolished, that would have been spread across all of LA. And so they had to come in, they had to go in anti-seize, the special forces guys. And then they had to come out, they had the body in a bag, but they had to decontaminate the SEALs. They had to decontaminate the helicopters, everything before they took off, or would spread it again. You can see them spraying it down in the night vision that people were showing of that op. You can see them spraying everything down like they have to do to make sure nothing gets spread. And so now with the fires, they don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's right. So a lot of us were getting that. They were doing that, and especially in Lake Tahoe, to clear some of the DUMs there. That's still
there's a big DUM they're working on. You can see a lot of 10 kilometer, which are actually the USGS shows only in kilometers. It's actually 33,000 feet. And you know how they love their numbers. Right. So that's of course 33rd degree and above. So there's a lot of earthquakes in the last 3 months underneath the middle of Lake Tahoe.
Yep.
And it's kind of obvious.
Very good.
Well, I want to confirm a couple of things that Gene has said. The El Salvador Cultural Center was owned by Mr. Tom Gilardi, who's in the news for stealing hundreds of millions of dollars, for himself. And of course, his wife is on the Housewives of Beverly Hills. Okay. And she's in trouble too. And of course, to confirm what Gene has said about the date 8/29, we have Katrina 8/29/2005, Gustav 8/29/2008, Isaac 8/29/2012, Harvey 8/29/2017, and Ida 8/29/2021.
Yeah, so I have some contacts that are saying some of their rituals have not gone down. So it kind of sounds like they have a lot of pressure on them, and they're not able to pull off some of the things that they want to do.
We've passed some pretty high level satanic holidays of which they've missed stuff now. It's we'll know that we're really getting the upper hand when the mainstream media gets into a counterpunch. When they're not on the offensive and they're on the defensive about news that you and I and Kirsten and other people, the truthers, are doing, and they're reacting to us. If they're if your opponent's in a reactionary mode, you got them on the ropes. Their fight is coming to an end. It's not too long till you get a knockout at that point.
That's a good point. There has been some posts that I've seen in the mainstream media. And all over the world, even, where they literally attacked me in major news articles. I think all of us have probably had that. throughout the world. So yeah, we know we're hitting home, but you know, they often hit us, they take our channels down.
Yeah,
so
I actually did a show a long while back on Kirsten, and then Chelsea tweeted out against me. Like, wow, Deco's making it was like,
big
no.
time.
I was like, well, I know I'm over the target now. Don't
Oh
I'm
my
catching
God.
flack directly from the Clintons. Oh my goodness.
Wow, yeah, that's impressive. Good job.
I was like, oh, let me put that medal right on my chest right there.
Absolutely. And I've even, somebody told me one time, he says, you know, they're all the military and everyone that's involved in, you know, taking down the deep state, you know, there should be some medals for everybody. I was like,
I
that's a
consider
good
that
idea.
a Purple Heart. I got wounded in action.
Nice. Kirsten, you have your nice space force shirt. What do you got on there?
Yes, I do. The Space Force, Starlink Satellite Project Odin, Space Force t-shirt, correct. We're going to start selling these on my channel, and of course, my amazing elixir, which you will get to try. Scott McKay and Sasha Stone have already tried it, and they love it.
Yeah.
So it's the tryblue.org. I gave it to Trace to put on the link. So that gets rid of the spike, if you know what I mean, and the shed. Yeah.
Yeah. It takes care of a lot of the bad stuff that they're trying to take us down with. That's good.
Yeah. And I did an interview with Kirsten a couple days ago. I'm a free agent now. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, no, I didn't. That's good.
Yeah, I'm developing my own platforms at this time. First will be for the Blessed for Service team. It's blessedforservice.org.
Right. Yeah. Good.
Then for the ministers that were on the platform I used to be on, I'm going to gift them their own ministry platform. It'll be a closer walk with God. And then towards the end of this year, because I got to develop, everything's got to be, it's not, mine isn't even in development yet. I've got to get the other two first. So we're looking at the end of the year or the beginning of this next year, kind of a Christmas gift or a New Year's gift to the world, genedecode.org.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll have a deep down the rabbit holes on the back side of it. It'll be just $7 a month or $77 a year where you get 1 month free. So we're looking. Nice. And Kirsten through, like, I have the Blessed for Service team created a Telegram site called Real Gene Decode. And Kirsten threw me all her people, and we went from 7,000 to 27,000 in less than 24 hours. I went up by 20,000. Like, Kirsten's super monster in there. Like, oh my goodness, it lit up the Telegram. And I did last night a Q&A on the Canada coordinators Zoom. And unfortunately, she had paid for it to extend to 1,000, but it locked at 500. She had to do a call during it. So we only got to about 678. But in that, we announced all this, and we announced the new websites and all of that. And I talked about Kirsten's Try Blue stuff, about how good that is. I'm pretty sure I did. If I didn't, I'll make sure I do it. I'm going to do it every the next 3 weeks too, every Tuesday at 5 o'clock Mountain Daylight. And so, and on that, when I get the IT guy, is an amazing guy. Actually, it's like God always brings you these people right before you need it. And I was doing a Zoom with him. It was just, he had done this amazing study of the earthquakes at 10-kilometer depths starting in 1904 by every presidency. So 1904 to 1908, 1908 to 1912, and he showed the 10-kilometer earthquakes only. And there's almost nothing until you get to 1944 to 1948. Then you start seeing them all over the place in the U.S. because that's how they do the boring with the nukes. It bores down and sets off a nuke, and you can see them. And it's exactly where the maps that I showed. There are a lot from Phil Schneider, who has the latitude and longitudes before they murdered him, and some Majestic 12 documents, and a couple things called Cutting Edge, and those you can find online. They match, those 10-kilometer earthquakes match. And then you don't see them again until Trump was in. Then you start to see them again. Obviously, nothing for like many, presidencies. And all of a sudden, here's a whole bunch. Then nothing for many, over 100, almost like 60, 70, 80 years. Then all of a sudden they start again. It makes it really obvious. So I set a Zoom with him and I said, would you like to make a decode on this? He goes, that'd be great. Yeah. And I said, so, would it be possible, or do you know, because I'm like techie pathetic, a way to make it into a transparency overlay where you could show these maps you've made with the earthquakes, overlay it on the dumb maps and see if they line up. And he goes, oh yeah, I can write that code right in the net. That's easy. I go, that's easy. For me, I'm like, my mind's blown. You can write code in the net.
Wow.
He goes, yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard. He goes, no.
What do you guys think about Afghanistan?
I talked about that on Kirsten's interview, and I talked about it last night on the Q&A, and I talked about it the last 3 nights in a row. Let's put that on Patriot Dave. I had an interview on there the night before, and I talked about it there. It's a major, that is huge. It is the first country on earth absolutely free now from the cabal. Because you are special forces. You don't go into a country unless it's extremely well done. Without firing a shot, nobody was killed in the takeover of Kabul. Not a single person. They locked it down. They closed it. They closed the airport. Then they emptied the prison. Why? Because those are all political prisoners of the original regime, which was set in there by the cabal. What was the Taliban doing before that? Growing opium poppies.
Right.
And what happened to the other source for now those fields are burned. They burned them before they went in there. They actually burnt. They're not being, like I'm sure some of your friends, Michael, were having to protect the Taliban while they protected the crops in Afghanistan. We're in Afghanistan. I had like special forces email me and say, I didn't go into the special forces to guard the opium fields for the cabal.
Right.
It's like, what I do? Why don't I just take off my SEALs pin and I'll put on a skull and bones? This is ludicrous.
Yeah, it was that, I saw that when I was there. There was, the clowns, basically, as Kirsten calls them. We're chasing terrorists, and then this other group comes in and they want to know where all that stuff is, and we're like, no, we're not gonna have any part of that. You guys are gonna have to get another team in here to work that. We're working this. We'll show you where it's at, but we're not gonna have any problem. But they were definitely working that. They brought in another team, and they were working that. Finding out where those guys were.
Yeah.
With the opium, and then it started. That was soon after we went in there. So very frustrating stuff.
Yeah, so
I have a question for
been
Gene.
burned, and Myanmar's already gone. The military took over, that's the Golden Triangle. You're talking the main 2 places on earth are not the cabal source of opioids. That's big pharma. Right. Other than crude oil and the stuff they pull from crude oil distillates, that's their main source. And so that's gone. You've crippled the cabal now. And then, it is massive.
That's good insight. I like it.
For the entire world, for big pharma out, it's gone. That is, other than some small stuff here and there, but Afghanistan and Myanmar, the Golden Triangle, are gone. So now, and not only that, they locked it down, and then they said that the Taliban asked ISIS to go in the mainstream. No, they didn't. Taliban leader actually announced that was terrorists coming in, that the prison they took emptied, they did that for this. They got those guys in there. They're going to give them tribunals, and we kind of know what that happens in Middle Eastern areas. When you're given a tribunal and you're found guilty of doing terrorism that killed people, innocent people, like U.S. military, they cut your head off is what they usually do. So they're not going to survive this. But the burned out buildings and all of that they showed, that's ISIS. And when the Taliban took power, what was the first thing they do? It's not a clown op. The first thing the Taliban leader did is they went into the warlord's home, and the head, the main warlord guy, they arrested him, put him in that prison. Then they declared that the mandates are done. No more mandating stuff in people's arms or face diapers or any of this stuff.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pointing that out. Why did they leave all that equipment behind? So the totally suspect to me is like something doesn't ring true here. What do you get out of that? All the military gear is left behind.
Yeah, so the Taliban can use it to help them. They knew it's a big op. It's a big op, taking out the major source of opioids on earth, the last one left for the cabal. It's massive. They've locked the borders down to try to keep ISIS out.
Interesting.
I have something to ask Gene, and then I also have a comment. Number one, let me make the comment. The comment is also Afghanistan and the Golden Triangle, Myanmar, were the head of the basically child trafficking areas.
Yep.
And why did Biden, because Biden didn't have any kind of control of the military, he had to send a CIA guy in to meet with the Taliban. That was interesting all in itself. And as you know, the big parasite, Andrew Blinken, which is now our Secretary of State, was asking for 200 million here, 300 million there, when already they're beginning to evacuate. He's still asking for millions of dollars. You know that he's the one that basically got his people. We started this company called West Exec that are on the Biden cabinet. That would be Jen Psaki, Mr. Jen Psaki, and the press secretary, and who else? We have the director of the DNI, it's a woman, basically, and also the deputy director of the CIA. Those are all Andrew Blinken's guys, and you know he's a parasite and totally incompetent. Now, the question for Gene is, why do you think the $85 billion of our military equipment, because, you know, I'm Chinese and I don't want us to get screwed. I want to know why you think it was left there.
So that the Taliban can get rid of ISIS elements that are there and lock that country down so they can't take it back. It's the alliance that's doing it. And, you know, you can see it when they came into Kabul, the shops reopened. That's in the reports I showed on Patriot Day. Shops reopened. In other words, they were closed because of the mandates, right? And now they're open. And they were waving flags and cheering. And like it looked like the Allies coming into Paris, you know, back in World War II. It was massive. And, you know, Blinken, you know, for me, it's like an unholy triad where you got Smokey Joe and Kamala, you got Winkin, Blinken, and Nod. You got Winkin, Kamala, you got Blinken, and then you got Mr. Nod Yes Man to the Chinese CCP. It's Winkin, Blinken, and Nod running the show over at our place, you know, in our corporate stuff.
So Gene, I have a lot of friends that kind of, you know, keep me informed in the intel arena, and they say that a lot of the intel, they're being taken down. A lot of people are being you know, removed. There's lots of you know, missions that are getting shut down. What are you hearing on the backside of that?
Yeah, clowns in America are being shut down, the ops for them, for your friends and stuff. The alliance is shutting those ops down before they get going. They're saying no, because Wink and Blink and Nod, they're in control of a corporate structure that's bankrupt. They don't even have the money to pay anything anymore.
Yeah,
they don't have sources. They actually, way back when he first got in, the passcodes to get into the Federal Reserve and all the funds and the IRS too. That's why they kept moving the date out for taxes, because if you put them in the bank, they couldn't get at them because their passcodes, you know, it's like somebody hacked your email and changed your password. You can't get into your own email. They couldn't get into their own accounts. And now they haven't ever gotten into their own accounts. They're bankrupt beyond comprehension. They can't even pay for stuff anymore. So the alliance is just telling them, you know, if you don't want to, you know, we'll pay you. You can go in to, you know, help the, you know, so there are groups that are mercenaries now working for the Taliban in Afghanistan that had been forces of the clowns that were special forces guys and, you know, right, Army Rangers and that stuff and SEALs. They're now in there, but they're getting paid by the alliance. They go, you know, you want to work for pay or do you want to work for nothing for the clowns? They go, we'll work for pay. Thank you. I have a wife and kids at home to feed.
Right. Yeah, I was getting that too, that there were different pots of money that were being utilized to, you know, pay guys that were working for the Alliance. That's interesting. You got the same stuff. So
Yeah.
I was at this one meeting, this one event in Mount Shasta this weekend, and I talked to a lot of people that are, space program and stuff like that. One of them was saying that, all bets are off because of, this jabberdo they're trying to do with the kids. So the kids, the star beings, the star children that are coming in, they're very concerned because they're helping us evolve to go to the next, dimensional levels. And so that once they started, going after the kids, then all bets are off. Alex Collier, he's really tapped into that stuff, and he said that there's only 4 moves on the chessboard left, and that they should be done by December. What are you hearing on that, if anything?
Yeah, I'm hearing pretty much the same thing. There's been a huge split in the timelines. I actually had some friends visiting, and I saw the wall rippling, like you see at the bottom of a swimming pool, the light ripples. I saw that on the wall, and I pointed it out, and they saw it too. I go, "Do you see that on the wall?" He goes, "Your wall looks like a swimming pool." I go, "What is that?" And he goes, "That's timeline merge, and now we're having a timeline split, because you'll see, depending on which line you're on, you're going to see different things. It's going to be becoming slightly evident, like Mandela effect, where some people remember something, some people don't.
Right.
Experiencing that a lot more.
A lot of people are, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the military guys that we're talking about. The funding is massive, because when they cleaned out the dome from Vatican to Jerusalem, you're talking $34.7 quadrillion of gold.
Right.
They can fund anything for 100 years.
Good point. Yeah.
So they have the funds, and then, but of course, Winkin, Blinken, and Nod and Fakey. I call him Fakey, F-A-U-C-I. For me, he's Fakey. Mr. Fakey. Mr. Fakey says this, and Mr. Fakey, he's like a puppet, whatever they tell him to say. Wear a diaper. No, don't wear a diaper. Lock it down. No, don't lock it down. What am I supposed to say right now?
Yeah.
I'm lost track of the
wear 4 masks at the same time.
Yeah, just put the whole box and tape it to your face. Exactly. It's like on and on. And so, they're targeting the kids because they don't want a next generation. Right. Because the spike proteins and all that go to the reproductive areas. And females means the ovaries, and males the testes. It creates sterility within 2 or 3 years. Not only that, it'll affect the young way more. The new stuff they put it, they got a new round. The boosters are slightly different. They aim specifically at the children. They're going to call it variants. But what does a virus do as it mutates? As it goes from host to host, it's mutating because it's reusing the host to reproduce. So it's picking up the host genetics as part of its own. That's why originally you had HIV only all over the world. Now we have 1 and 1 lookalike, and 1A and 2 and 2B and 2C and 2, on and on, all these variants. But they're getting now people are HIV, resistant. And there's some people that can't even get it at all. And so that's because what does a virus do? Just like life, it wants to live, it wants to succeed. So it gets more virulent, it jumps easier, it travels, it gets airborne, it gets easier to go from host to host to host, but it doesn't kill. It doesn't do the damage it used to do. Yeah, you get sick, you get a flu, but you don't die unless you get a jab that makes you so that you're only able to respond to the original one. It's selective targeting. Now you get that jab, and then later you get this, the vax targets that only. So then as it's changing and becoming less virulent, even just the common flu, even not what they're jabbing for, you get that. You don't have an immune system. Your immune system's been aimed at one target. It's like you're told, like rules of engagement. You remember this garbage from Nam. You can only do this in this direction and this, but then you're being shot and you can't shoot over there. I mean, it's like in subs, we have these ops we did, and we can't go below this step. We can't go outside this boxes. We can't go above this. What kind of war is that? You can't win when you're you can't go over here while your opponent can go over there and over here and shoot there or shoot here, and you can't shoot in that direction. You can only shoot in this direction.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah, the rules of engagement were they would change daily. So I've been in many combat zones over the years, and they would sometimes change daily. That was part of, they wanted to have that confusion to make people hesitant. So they keep these wars going on and on. So
And that's
yeah,
exactly what it does.
the new variants are basically, like you're saying, they're less effective at taking the host out, because they want the host to survive so they can come and mutate and grow and stay alive. If they take out the host, they die too.
Yeah.
So there's even children, like you were talking about HIV. There's children that are being born now that are HIV resistant. So it's something, the human is absolutely amazing. The way our DNA is not programmed. This is the way it's going to be. Our DNA is consciousness based, and it can change if it needs to.
Yeah, exactly. So the body becomes rules of engagement, where it can only go after one thing. You get another virus, even a flu, it takes you out. The flu didn't want to do that. This virus, as it mutates, and not only that, 19 originally was 99 to 0.97 for young people to old people. For old people, it was 97% survival rate, and now the variance is 99.9997 for old people. And for young people, because it's the jab has been targeted at them, it's 97. I mean, you've had an inversion in the statistics. And not only that, the jabs, out of every 5,000, 20% are saline solutions. What is that? Yeah. It's called an experiment with a control group, a double-blind study. The human race is being used in a double-blind experiment study to see, okay, how do we adjust this to become more lethal? What works? What doesn't work? Does the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of a person thinking they got something but they didn't, does that affect it? How do we overcome that? They are knowing what they're doing. They're playing a game big time.
Oh, yeah. So, and that's another reason why consciousness needs to stay high. So, Kirsten, the Chinese, what's happening? What's happening? Because, the Wu flu came from over there. We know that the CCP is evil beyond belief. Organ harvesting, all kind of crazy stuff they're doing.
Okay, so if you know what's happening, there were 3 stings and a trap. The 3 stings were the Congress going on vacation. A bunch of them got nabbed. My intel was 6 or 7. I read it wrong. It was 67 that got nabbed. The second sting was the Cyber Symphony, where they tried to block that, if you know what I'm talking about, with Mr. L. And a bunch of them got nabbed there. And the third one was when I said that there was going to be an emergency broadcast test on August 11th, and only 12% participated and 88% did not. We have in Reno, Nevada, a lot of them got nabbed there. And of course, the big trap was Afghanistan, as you know. And on Monday, someone that is a self-admitted crackhead and got nabbed at the Dulles airport, allegedly. And the 2 underage 13 and 14-year-olds were separated from him and off, of course, his crack cocaine. There you go.
Wow.
Wait. Oh, you were asking me about what's happening in China. Okay, so basically, that the Three Gorges Dams is one of the 34 satanic buildings. That would include the Getty Museum, the White House in Germany and U.S., the Playboy Mansion, the Vatican, the Three Gorges Dams, the CERN building in Switzerland that's housing most of the clowns right now, because they all ran there from Langley, Virginia, from what is that called? Guatemala, where they ran when they were kicked out of North Korea. And we have earthquakes everywhere. That would be North Korea to take out the nukes there. We have earthquakes in Iran, and we have earthquakes right at the Three Gorges Dams, okay? And my subscribers give me a very hard time because they expect 100%. what I say. Like I said, those four things that came through. That was the freeze out in Texas. I predicted that with Scott 10 days before it happened. The second one was the stock market collapse, which has collapsed twice. It's about to go a third time. Of course, the arrest of Justice, R, the main one. That's why the Supreme Court has gone to the right. And the last was the EBS system, which only 12% complied. Okay, so now I've been saying that Three Gorges Dams has an earthquake. That would be, when I say earthquake, I mean the rods of God dropped, okay? So they have had rods of God that were dropped by the Three Gorges Dams. So basically, my subscribers give me a hard time because they're like, the building's still there. Okay, all the building was doing in the first place was releasing water because it was flooded. And when you say watch the water, it actually translates to watch the flooding for the dams. And as you know, the two top generals in the CCP were drowned in one of those dams. And one of the guys was the one that owns the Uyghurs concentration camp. And he also owned the 300 acres in West Texas and the land in Mexico. That's the one that was fighting President Xi. Okay, now the Three Gorges Dams is standing, but as you know, the concrete is not well made and basically it's been leaking. But what is most important is that the link to the nuclear reactors, the 27 nuclear reactors, is not working because of the flooding. That would link to big pharma. That would link to the Bitcoin mining. That would link to the Wuhan lab, which basically helped create the AIDS that we're talking about, the other thing, the C that we're talking about. Yes, that is all linked to that underneath the Three Gorges Dams. So when I say it's gone down, it doesn't mean the building is actually collapsed. It means it's non-functional. So if you really want to use layman's terms, when you enter a house that's standing, but it's been gutted, there's no electricity, there's no water. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So don't give me a hard time. The dam's still there. Now what's non-functioning?
Wow. That's a nice intel drop.
Oh, Kirsten.
I love it when you get spun up and you go girl, go.
Yeah, Michael. So as you know, I'm a code breaker. I'm trained to look at information. I got a lot of that too. I was too busy to report on it because of all the getting me free stuff happened. But in regards to I got 67 and then I got 6-7, and I know code when I see it. That means Vedically compress. 6 and 7 is 13 bloodlines of Cain. Then 12%, the 12 bloodlines of Christ. So we're taking out the 13 bloodlines of Cain in China by the 12 bloodlines of Christ. And then you look at underneath the Three Gorges Dam, the 13 unholy areas, again, 13. And that's underneath there, the earthquakes that were there. That's now completely flooded with mud that hardens in, like you can see in Three Gorges Dam. They're cutting out Google Earth now, but you could see before they did that, a big, huge plug of mud being ejected out the front right side. And you look at the front of the dam, this big, huge island of blood, of red, brownish mud, hardened, dried mud. And underneath the Three Gorges, that dam was used. And if you're in right now, if you're in cryptocurrency, I would say get out, because they were mining Bitcoin and not just Bitcoin, all of them. They have captured over 52% of all of them, which means they're in control. They're in control of it. I would say divest yourself and go into silver, because of the reason I say that cryptocurrency is they can collapse at any time they want. They can do anything, and it's used for trafficking children. Huge. That's how they pay for it on the auctions on the dark web. Like I saw certain individuals rescuing people on the border of the US, showing videos of it. Then later I saw that same stuff, those same kids being auctioned on the dark web. they told me to go in. I didn't even know how to do it. I had to get instructed, and I saw those same kids being auctioned, and they're paying with Bitcoin. And then again, remember the gold, all that gold they've taken, the 34.7 quad from the once they got the Vatican Dome emptied, they found another tunnel door that goes all the way to Switzerland. And I'm being told it's like $97 septillion in gold is what they're estimating based on length and volume, because it's so massive. They can't even figure out how much it is. It's so massive. And so the comms and the code is all there. And so if silver, I mean, gold is so plentiful that it's not really a good investment. There's enough for every country on earth to use coin now, have gold coin. I mean, it's massive. And on the domes, if you give me, oh, you already have it. Nice. Okay. So talking like Kirsten was talking about earthquakes. So they're clearing out a lot. So what they're doing is the maglev that goes underneath where you come into the med goes from Spain. You can see here, 10 kilometers, Santa Fe, Spain, then going in across to Morocco, and that area there, Hasima, Morocco. Then you could also see coming from the Vatican Dome had one that came down this way and went over this way. It goes really deep in that area because of the gold was so massive. That's a big hole for it where they put it down deep. It goes all the way underneath the island of Malta, which is, you can see it coming up here now. That's the island of Malta. That whole thing under there's a dome. That's where the Knights Templar and the Knights of the Maltese Cross were. That's a big part of the Knights Templar. Then, like she was saying, if you go to Turkey, you can see the line here. It goes, it's just cutting across straight line. Same thing you can see up here. You can see the lines. You can see the lines. So if you go to Myanmar, for example, you can see the maglev line coming into China, from China. Okay. It's kind of obvious. If you follow the line, I think it goes to this one. No, not that one. I got a little off there. There it is. It's coming like this. So it goes deep to go under the mountain range here, the bridge of the Himalayas. And then, you can see you can see maglev lines in the earthquakes really easy. They're taking out huge dumps in various locations. You can see it. You can follow the lines. It's not hard to follow stuff like this one up in China. That's 10, and it's got to go up and over and around things once in a while, like lava tubes or something like that. So it's kind of obvious, so like Kirsten saying, you can see what's going on all over the world. Nice. This is the one I'm talking that's going from from the Vatican Dome. It goes over Albania. The tunnel, the maglev and the big dome tunnels goes like this. Then it comes down in this area of Greece right here. This area is actually now being completely worked, and I had emails from people there. This area where this comes up in the ocean here, comes up from this harbor that comes up, this inlet. This area here is now flooding, and it's got saltwater geysers. Wow. Saltwater inland. I mean, this is fairly inland. This area 3 months ago, you can only see 1 month out in the thing, but this area has freshwater geysers now. They're taking out the deeper stuff, and that goes all the way down like this, comes through here, and then it goes all the way down to Jerusalem. But they found that branch from Albania that goes up through Bosnia, and then it goes through Croatia, and then it goes all the way up through Austria, and it goes up, it goes up this way down to Vaduz, Switzerland, and comes into Bem, Switzerland. So they're working from Bem. We're going to see earthquakes starting in Bem. They're getting ready to go in there and go through Vaduz and all that. It's, I'm not breaking up sect because the cabal already knows this. They're completely surrounded. They don't have any way out. They've got TR units, cloaked ships. The cabal knows that they have the neutrino detectors to know the ships are there. They can't get out. And they've known from experience now of trying to get out from under Tahoe. When they try to get out of places, they get taken out. and you can see what I call airquakes or negative value earthquakes when they're trying to get out of stuff. They're also taking this one out in Stanley, Oregon. They're under Lake Tahoe, as we were talking earlier. You can see that one there where they're taking that stuff out. And you can see sometimes negative values, and it's not a geyser. It's not a, it just says explosion. It doesn't say quarry. It doesn't say geyser. It doesn't say volcano. So you can see them taking out lots of stuff. And then there's this huge stuff that goes up into Area 51 and Groom Lake. They're taking all that out too. I mean, that's a lot. Look at that. That's a lot of activity. You know, and people
so there's, I know people that were telling me that there used to be, obviously from many, many eons ago, lots of tunneling that happened all around that area. And that's one of the reasons why they came in and took over that area, because it already had a lot of these tunnel systems from eons, you know, thousands of years ago. They're already there, massive tunnel systems.
Yep. So, and then they were doing Mona Lake a while ago. And this area now is all on fire in here. A lot of this is on fire. That's, you know, so they're taking out stuff all around that, going up into, and sometimes they're not even going to show depths. They hide the depths on you. So,
oh, yeah. Yeah, they block a lot of this stuff.
Yeah. So you can go through and you'll sometimes see, if you just page down, you can actually see negative values where they're taking out ships that are trying to escape the Nom. This is another big maglev system coming in. They're a little shallower there at the 5 kilometer depth. And, you know, a 0 value, that's a door. That's an entrance from ground level, kind of obvious. An earthquake on the ground. I mean, hello, it's kind of obvious. Here's another one, another door. I mean, it's all in the same area, right? And obviously here you're getting a little deeper. Okay, you've got through the door, you're blowing a secondary door. And then you got this one here. You know, you got all of these coming down.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that you know, there's another, you know, we get these every few years where there's warnings of Planet X coming in. What are your thoughts on that?
Planet X or Nibiru, that whole star system passed through back 2016 through 2019. It has 29,720 year orbit. So it won't be back for a long time. It orbits our system. We're in a trinary star system. There's 2 other star systems that come through. Clarion, which is a blue dwarf with 1 planet called Matria. It's a big, huge thing the size of our sun almost, but actually rocky, bizarrely enough, comes through every 250,000 years. It's not due for 100,000 years. Then Nibiru, which is in the Nemesis star system, which is called Wormwood also by some people, it has the outer 3 planets inhabited by the Anunnaki. And so that's the Nibiru, Helion, and Argoda. And I have pictures from 2016 from the lower part, or actually the upper part, from Antarctica, Camp McMurdo, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, that were sent to me, where you could see the sunset and another sun with 3 planets in around it in 2016. And then there's NASA pictures of Nibiru, Nemesis, Helion, Argoda going behind the sun, and then coming back out in 2019, and it left between us and the Earth. It was the Alliance, actually the SSP, stopped the gravitational effects, or we would have had a global catastrophe like the floods of Noah. And then they passed through, they put a warp field around it to isolate the magnetic effects, and it passed out of our system safely. So again, the special forces of the secret space programs of the that would be of the Solar Warden, that would be the Radiant Guardian, which is the inner peacekeeping forces from the asteroid field in between Mars and Jupiter, from that asteroid belt in. And so they escorted it out. They kept it cloaked. So there weren't I have a few pictures from like Alaska and Greenland that people, and Iceland that people that emailed me sent me. And then it passed out of our system. So it's not something that anybody needs. It's just now there people keep doing that gloom and doom and Planet X and we're going to get wiped out. That's the cabal trying to scare people, you know, and in time scenario stuff. It's long run. It comes in at an 86-degree angle. That's why they didn't see it for a while, because it's coming below the ecliptic. It passes through and goes above the ecliptic, and then it passes back out. And then Helion and Argota go in the exact opposite. If you go 90 degrees out, but come from the top down instead of the bottom up, it comes in at an 86-degree angle. So it's a balance of force. So you have two vectors of force, so it doesn't destroy the orbit of the sun, our sun, which those two orbit our sun. So it would it creates like a centrifuge, or not like a clockwork, where you have a balance of the two pivots back and forth, the two, like in an old clock where you have a ticker going back and forth, a pendulum. You have two pendulums that are counterbalanced. They're like a counterbalance. So as we spiral, we don't just go around the center sun of the Milky Way, which is Alcyone, which is in a black hole. Fallen galaxies or suns in our black hole. They're not telling the truth on that the center of galaxies are all black holes. They're not all, just the fallen ones. The suns are in black holes. And so the Earth in our sun system, Sol, with those two other stars orbiting it, go as it spirals through space. It doesn't go straight. It does this spiral, and it goes around the central sun, and it goes around, and it does a rotation every 365 million years. That's why the Mayan calendar had its 0.167,500,000 years ago from 2012 to 0. And that's because they could see all this. It's called the grand year. 367 million years. They started 167,500,000. That's why 2012 was the end of their calendar, because that's the time we entered what the cabal calls the Masonic ring, the soft edge, not the hard edge. We began, and so that ring, the central sun that's in that black hole, causes energy to come out in big, huge, like you see in a black hole. These huge jets of light and energy, material being ejected hundreds of thousands of light years, sometimes millions of light years out. And in the case of the Milky Way, because it's in a black hole, you have Andromeda on one side, and you have some huge galaxies like Sagittarius, solar galaxy, and all that. It creates a gravitational lensing, the pressure waves, so that the energy coming out, that infrared energy, that's an infrared central sun, goes and cuts across the Milky Way. It's a photon belt. I call it a photon belt. I don't like Masonic ring at all. And so it cuts across the Milky Way. So as a star system passes through that, the energy, because it's infrared, that's heat, the energy starts to increase. It's not just Earth. It has climate change. Mars doesn't have ice caps anymore. It has a hurricane. It's had the size of Texas for a decade. I mean, the big red spot is growing on Jupiter, the big blue spot on Neptune. I mean, all of this stuff is global climate change because of the entry into the photon belt. And once we get to the hard belt, then that'll be the ascension, because that then jumps the energy of the sun, third to fifth density. It'll jump densities, and then its energy will go and hit the planets as that happens, and it'll jump the energy of everybody on Earth, or from a Christian point of understanding, the rapture. And so then, at that point, if you can encompass that, the Earth is already actually split. I have pictures from ISIS where they showed another Earth in orbit behind ours.
Right.
I think I showed you that on one of your previous.
Yeah, you did. That was fascinating. Thank you.
Yeah,
really
and
good.
so they don't show people that, but when it's light here on one side of the Earth, it's dark there because it's at fifth density. So the sun's in a different cycle. It's in a different location, and that Earth is in a different location in regards to the fifth density sun. And so people that are seeing that are seeing a white sun instead of a yellow sun. It's much hotter, much brighter. So that Earth is completely tropical unless you're above 14,000 feet of elevation. You only have ice and snow above 14,000. It's all tropical, and the oceans and things are completely. That's why the U.S. Navy had maps showing the differences of where to settle down. A lot of the high-level military don't move into certain areas in the U.S., like Nebraska and Kansas, are going to be under the Atlantic Ocean. a lot of Texas, Oklahoma on that, when that occurs. So people are moving. That's why they set the new DC, the cabal built new DC in Denver as the New World Airport, as DIA, and they have the Federal Center, which is between Kipling and Wadsworth and between I-70 all the way over to almost, it's like 10 miles all the way over. It has a nuclear reactor under there, so they'd have power. And DIA has a nuclear reactor, so they have power when all this occurs, and that would be oceanfront property. The Front Range in Colorado, parts of it would be oceanfront property on that fifth density. But for them, because it shifts for 1,000 years, and that's 1,000 years of God, which means 1,000 times 1,000 times 365 or 365 million years. It takes the energy frequencies, negative and positive, and keeps them isolated from each other. It's like an insulating barrier. So that's like a battery where the positive and negative poles are separated by the plates. So they're going to be separated by the energy of the sun. And so you're going to have a fifth density, fourth density negative Earth, which will be here. And then those that are positive and in service to God and Christ, they'll be there. And for 1,000 years, you can't have AI, you can't have any of that. So the rapture is where people are instantly transmuted from this negative when it goes completely negative and no positive is here. The negative will stay here, the positive will go there. And those that can't jump to fourth and fifth density, NASA's already shown this. They're not sitting getting the pictures. I got some of them. Venus has atmosphere and oceans. And so people will actually, the Solar Warden and the secret space programs will take people by ship. If the ships were to uncloak, the whole sky would be dark right now. By ship to Venus, they'll be, be given memories and make it smooth for them so it's not upsetting. And there's already a guy that's posting videos from there. He thinks he's in Madrid all alone. He's walking around at airports, and he found a police car with the engine running. He's driving, and people are telling him, put keys here in a bag, and he puts it in. They're finding it in Madrid here. They're like, where are you? He's like there. He showed pictures, and all the lights are on, and stuff's running. Goes to the airport, and it's all the lights are on, but nobody's there. It's like they already took him there so people would know what it's like. It's kind of a preconditioning to make it not too upsetting to people. They already have it all built up, just like Earth and everything.
So we've seen, let's do one more question. We'll kind of roll through this one. We've all seen people that have come into our, space, the Patriot space, and, kind of infiltrated. I think we've all kind of talked about it. We know who these people are. What do you see going forward for that? I think they're being exposed, just like everything else, and they're kind of falling out. The energies, I think the energies, as the energies increase, a lot of these people are getting exposed faster and they're falling off. What do you guys see with that?
I agree. I mean, it's basically happening. People are being exposed, and the cream always rises to the top. The truth always comes out. Mm-hmm. And that being said, I want to thank Gene for 2 years of us doing shows together. We're going on number 45 next. And I want to
45
number 45. And I want to thank Mike, my friend, and Tracy for moving next door. I'm looking forward to that. So thank you very much. I do have to do another show, so I have to go. But thank you very much for having me on and my space.
Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you for 2 years. I did a lot of dumb decodes. The Netherlands coordinator's ready to go anytime you want to do a dumb decode intro on Netherlands.
Okay, so this is my Space Force shirt for a Starlink satellite and Project Odin. Thank you very much. Nice. It was a pleasure being on again.
And where can people get you real quick before you leave? I'll put the links in the description box.
Telegram, it's t.me/Kirsten W, or for all the links, the Rumble, BitChute, everything, it's Kirsten, KirstenW.net. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten, dear.
And Gene, how about you? Gene Decode?
Yeah, Real Gene, real on Telegram, Real Gene Decode. All my links for Pastor. This will be, as soon as you send me the link, it'll be there. And then everything for the future, my calendar's there. Everything's in Mountain Daylight Time. It doesn't always say it, so it's Mountain Daylight Time. Although we had this one wrong, I thought it was 2, but Kirsten told me this morning at 4 a.m. It's 3 Mountain Daylight. So the site was wrong. And then mid-September, second or third week of September, the blessforservice.org website will launch, and people can get all the protocols if they just do a waiver. So I don't like having people to pay to be healthy and stay healthy. And so like the protocols that I have for the stuff in the arm, and it'll also have Tri Blue and all these other things that are so helpful in there. That'll be all in there. Plus you can get links to shows, plus you can get all my information and all this. You just go in and you'll have a basic questionnaire for what kind of information you want and your location, so you can get to your local coordinator, answer questions directly. And then you'll also be able to see the upcoming launches for the other 2 websites I mentioned as well, once those are going forward. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. And basically, I think this show was amazing. And I put the live link onto my Telegram, which has almost 85K people. And basically, Mike, thank you very much for your time. And yeah, this was an amazing show. I would like to use the show to put up for my show after you have it run the whole night as my show tomorrow, because it was amazing.
I'll definitely I'll send you the video. So definitely both of you guys, if you want.
So you should have a lot of views now, because it's been on my Telegram for maybe half an hour. So you should have
it's got one, because my channel's been taken down like 4 different times. This is my 5th channel.
Yeah.
This is a big view for my new channel. Got over 6,000 right now as I'm looking at it. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Everyone should be on Telegram. Telegram's the place. Yeah.
Say hi to your lovely wife, Michael.
Absolutely. Absolutely. She's right here.
Give her my love and God's blessings. God bless you, Michael. And
God bless.
Thank you.
Same
God bless
to you
you
guys.
all. Love you all.
And everyone that's watching, thank you. Love you.